Ruto, I'm in heaven, investing in heaven. Leave me alone. Jakoyo Midiwo. Ruto is investing in heaven, so leave him alone as far as the harambees are concerned.
Ruto can't go to heaven.
But
So
why are you saying he can't go to heaven? You're not God yourself.
I'm not God, but I can tell you that just my, not imagination, what I know about him. You know, somebody who is involved, I don't know, theft of school land, grabs land all over, has unexplained wealth. I mean, if that's what it takes to go to heaven, then all Kenyans are going to heaven. I can tell you that I know that most Kenyans are so scared today because of theft of public funds by politicians. And most politicians, save for the ones you see on this panel, will not go to heaven, including William Ruto.
Will you go to heaven today, yourself?
I would really think, me being the son of a lady who was a serious devout church person, I would like to live like my mother wanted me to live. I think if she was alive today, I'm sure she would be very proud of me, because I am not involved in graft. And that's why you see these people here. I have not had Eseli's name or Wamatangi's name in graft. So, so if they died today, I'm sure they would be very close to going to heaven. After we pray.
Let's hear from Dr. Eseli. Yes, in regard to this particular headline,
I think the Deputy President has got a very interesting way of playing with words. he never ceases to come up with some phrase that amuses everybody. You remember, soon after His Excellency the President said Tanga, he actually adopted it and called his team is called the Tanga team, and it's kind of catching on. I think he's got a very interesting way of playing with words. As for harambees, yes, there's a role of harambees in the country, but I think we've overdone it. We've overdone it, and we need to start re-examining ourselves, because harambe, when it came on, was a good thing. Yes. But once politicians caught on to it, and it started being a way of seeking popularity, it became a popularity contest as who has got the deepest pockets. And I think the harambe, in a way, has also started fueling the corruption we are talking about. Because for most people, they feel that for them to be recognized and accepted by their societies and the country at large, they need to spend money, and they need to be seen to be rich, and they have to be giving to harambees. And to the extent that this has led to, I believe, part of the corruption that we see. And in fact, the church is complicit in this, and they must come out clearly, because you'll find them welcoming anybody to do harambe for them. While it's not that they cannot do harambes, but I think they should also join in the anti-corruption war. The churches need to join in the anti-corruption war and stop this excessive use of harambes. Sometimes actually it's abused.
Maybe. Yeah. Right. Maybe the question we should be asking is, where is this money coming from? Because I think from other pundits, they are saying there is a lot of money which are kept in some of the legislators' houses, that now they're worried also with the lifestyle audits taking place, and people may be also invading their houses. So maybe churches is a good conduit to actually give out the money, right? Because I'm being told some legislators, you go to their houses, they have a chest wall that is actually full of money, you know, from the height to the breadth of it. Sometimes even if you just, you know, take some oodles of cash out of it, you wonder how deep does it go inside. Yeah, this is where you actually stored in the house. Right? Maybe this is what the information that actually we are receiving, that yes, some of these monies, they're actually kept in the houses, and now they're trying to fend off, you know,
in
sort
fact,
of dispose them through churches, dispose them through, you know, some of the businesses that are raising eyebrows as well.
In fact, what you are saying has come up before. And when I was first elected to Parliament in 2007, I was also giving cash in harambees. But then after some time, I realized this is not good. So I started giving checks. So that if you are tracing where my money came, where my harambe contribution came from, you can actually trace it to my bank account. So I give checks, and if I don't have the money at that time, I give a post-dated check, but make sure that the money is there to meet that requirement when the check is deposited. So for a long time now, I've not given cash in harambees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kimani Wamatangi, of course, you've known what is going on. We have some legislators also going to planes, carrying wads of cash in bahashas, not even in briefcases. You know, 2 million, 3 million, blatantly. Where is the money coming from?
Well, Debarl, let me first say that you know, in my house I don't have that kind of safe you described, and how I wish I could have one that is full. Definitely, I would have a lot of things to do with the money, but. Let me first take a step back to what you said that you know, the Deputy President said on investing in heaven, and the interesting comments made by Jakoyo Midiwo. You know, first I think it depends on where you believe heaven is. You know, there's a popular thesis that heaven is here on earth, and you can make heaven right here. You know, that's part of religious teaching. But I believe verily it goes down into the spirit of the man, because, you know, by its very nature, Debarl, because we have to be factual about these things and also realistic, is that really one of the traits Kenyans have not been able to embrace, especially those that are wealthy, is philanthropy. And I'll say that in two ways. One, if you look at the trends in other countries where people have been able to make money either from business, from investments, from anything, philanthropy is one aspect that has not been embraced by Kenyans. That's why you find over the weekend, Debarl, I spent some time in West Pokot. And when we went to West Pokot, we were looking at a few projects as the Committee on Public Accounts, but we also had opportunity to interact with some community members there. And we occasioned a few, we visited some few areas where there were occasions of opening of community projects. Most of those projects actually are funded by foreigners, donors. World Vision, Good Samaritans. You ask yourself sometimes, where are our billionaires? I mean, why do we have to wait for a Mzungu to come from South Africa or from the United States to come and build a children's home, to come and build you know, a rehabilitation center or a rescue center for girls, for that matter? And I think that's one aspect too. Then on this aspect itself of the Harambe idea was very tough. And let's remember, Debarl, because sometimes politics makes us lose the real meaning and virtue of issues. Harambe, in its spirit and practice, was introduced in our country after independence by the late Jomo Kenyatta himself, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And remember that word Harambe is actually clearly inscribed in our coat of arms. On every document you get from government, there's a coat of arms. And one of the biggest words there is Harambe. I mean telling you that other than the latter day adulteration of the spirit, Harambe is the concept and the spirit along which we build our country. Yes. You know, I was a member of the committee that was started in the last Senate by Anyang' Nyong'o, the governor for Kisumu now. And that committee had sought to regularize and legislate on how harambes should be conducted. And we went around the country collecting views from many people. And I will tell you this. from almost 80% of Kenyans that we spoke to,
Yes.
they have no problem with the harambe. The only problem they have with is, one, how it is used, two, accountability, and three, as you have said, the source of funds. Personally, you know, I run the Wamatangi Foundation.
Yes.
I would call it my own way of doing harambe, because, or my way of contributing to society, because every person identifies, if you have a little somewhere that you'd want to inject in society, give back to community in your own way. If you are generous, then you find a way to doing that, of doing that. So what in my view would be wrong is to demonize, is to attempt to taint every harambe. But the source of funds, as you have said, and everybody can explain their own source of funds, but that does not mean in the first place that politicians should hide behind that idea that when they make money, if they're business people elsewhere,
yes,
that they should not give also or contribute to you know, to the country, or to causes of well-being.
Yeah, I can see Jakoyo is taking the leash to say something.
But I see, Wamatangi, why are you struggling so much to say the obvious?
No, I'm not struggling. I'm stating facts as they are.
Let me tell you this. The whole point of the headline in the Star is, should we steal from the public to do harambes? Really, I think Dr. Eseli is probably on this bench one of the honest guests you have ever hosted. I remember him going to some boda harambe in Bungoma, and he gave 30,000 shillings out of his income, and people said he looked like he was not a good politician because he didn't give too much money. I went to a church harambe the other day in Kitale, and the DP was the guest of honor. I went there with Kanini Kega, Eugene Wamalwa. We had a similar thing. We are not demonizing harambe, but I think it's wrong . Flying around all over the podium, and I could see, and I said, how primitive does it look? Who are we buying? And after they got that money, when they got to the podium, the venom they were spewing against the handshake, you know, so you wonder whether they were being given the money to talk about against the handshake, or they were being given money to give to the church. Why would somebody come all the way from Kisii driving to come and be given money to contribute in harambe? This is how bad this harambe thing is. Harambe is good, it brings us together.
So the harambe, is it just for political posturing and expediency, or is actually
the politicians are more culpable? Because you don't give what you don't have. So what it is, they're putting pressure on politicians to steal money.
Thank you.
To give them.
Right. Let's just close it on with Eseli.
One thing I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that harambes are entirely bad. There are genuine reasons why we have a harambe, and why anybody would actually look for money to go and contribute because they feel that that's a just cause. From the time I've been an MP, I've actually come across people in the community, people you'd least expect, who have done tremendous things, like Abmzela in Kimilili, our late Mzewebi, giving his land 2 acres to build a school. You know, just like that. That's his land. Mzee like Manyasa, in fact the school is called Manyasa Primary and Manyasa Secondary now. He gave his own land to start a school, you know, without being paid anything. There's a family, the Luvaga family, somewhere in my constituency. They have relatives abroad and some in Kenya, and they have actually come together as a family and built a library on a secondary school, which will also cater for the locals. You know, there are people doing things on their own, and they are not looking for publicity or anything.
Right.
So Harambe is okay, but if Harambe is used for publicity purposes, I think that's where we go wrong, because we have got foundations in this country, Safaricom Foundation,
yes,
Chandaria Foundation. They do marvelous philanthropic work.
Right. Wamatangi, we need to take a short break.
Just wanted to tell
very briefly,
Jakoyo,
30 seconds.
Sure. Yeah, just wanted to remind Jakoyo, you know, he may create the wrong impression that MPs earn $1 million. You know, you've been an MP just the other day. An MP's salary is 480,000 bana. And secondly, let's also remember, Debarl, politicians are business people. And most of them, I don't say all, most of them are business people. If you ask Jakoyo what he does when he leaves Parliament, he has got a consulting firm somewhere. He earns money. Now, the question here is, when you earn money out there as a politician because you run businesses,
thank you,
would you give to community or not? If you choose to, is it bad or good?